It's going to be a really interesting matchup. Even Asmir Begovic came out and said the Bosnians would probably play fairly conservatively in that match. And that's what I would expect from Bosnia, is to sit in a low block, to try to hit out on the counter, to play from the wings. They have strikers that can finish. They are physical. They can capitalize from set pieces. That's how I would expect Bosnia to try to work that match, to try to draw the U.S. in on a high press and spring a break in that way. But it would be a tough match no matter who it is. If it's Senegal, if it's Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's either one of those matchups are a really, really tough one for the U.S. and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a fantastic match no matter who it is, even if it is that less than 1% that it's Senegal.
Tactically, it's a really interesting matchup because the way that you would hurt this Bosnian team is by pressing them. By the way, their fans have just been absolutely incredible. Yes. The support that they have had, and seeing the traveling fans, they waited for this for such a long time. They beat all odds just to get here as well, whether it's been in Canada, wherever their games have been. Their support is amazing, and we know that makes a difference. But tactically, when you talk about this match, you have to press them. If you press Bosnia and you do it well and you're effective, that's how you could hurt them. But they're also very okay with doing that. Yeah. They are comfortable sitting in their position, in their spots, and then hitting out. In the match against Qatar, they went a little bit more offensive. They had Bayraktarovic, Aljabegovic, which they didn't do in the first two matches because they understood who their opponent is. And if USA make the mistake of making it a dogfight and they can't press them effectively, they're in for a long night because mentally, they're so tough, Bosnia. They want to make it a tie game. Yeah. They've already shown that they could go far on penalty kicks as well. That's how they got this far. So you can't overlook Bosnia. Yeah.
I think Bosnia would have to employ the strategy that they employed against Qatar rather than the defensive one. I think the U.S. has shown against two pretty rock-solid teams in Paraguay and Australia that they can press. Their counter press is incredibly effective. They got an early goal in both of those games. They have quality. They have ideas. They do well in the final third. I think if Bosnia sit in, you're just there for the taking. I think this guy, Aljabegovic and Bayraktarovic on the other side, who you mentioned, Marco, are the players that need to make the difference in the game. In the first two games, when they were approaching it more conservatively, they would only play one or the other. For me, if I were Bosnia, I would go out with my best punch. I would go out saying, I threw everything that I had at it. I threw my best attackers on the field, and I tried to go after the United States. Because the United States can be vulnerable defensively. I think playing defensively against the U.S. plays into their hands from what we've seen so far with this World Cup. I think you have to actually challenge them. You have to take the game to the United States. And no team has been able to do that so far. We won't really get a clear glimpse of that tonight against Turkey. From my perspective, I think Bosnia have to go out of this game throwing their best punch. I don't think what they did in the first two games would work against the U.S.
So here we go. We're going to take a look quickly at Bosnia. And the one good thing about Bosnia, or the thing that they have positive working towards them, is that they know what they are. I think that's a very important fact. You have to know what you are. You have to know where your tools are. And so they know they don't have a lot, right? But they've got some unbelievable results. Knocked out Wales, knocked out Italy to get to the tournament, then slapped Qatar around yesterday. 4-4-2, easiest way to play football. They're in the blue here. You can see they're in the blue. 4-4-2. And the reason why, try to disregard the reds for now. The reason why this is the easiest is because you have to keep this space short. You have to keep this space short, right? We spoke about that yesterday. As this ball flings out here of the United States, starts with the keeper, maybe with the center backs have it here, right? This ball flings out. It's very simple. Anybody could do this, right?
Welcome to Haaland's Bank, Revolut, where he earns Rev points on his daily spending, then redeems them on airline miles and hotel stays. Ah, there he goes, dreaming of his Ollibobs.
He shifts, puts pressure on the ball, the left midfielder. Here's your little bit of cover. Here's your little bit of cover, and then you almost always have this check mark in a 4-4-2. Same thing now if the ball goes out wide here, and they have to put some pressure. Here you go. That's the first, the fullback of this back four. The fullback will go out, and you'll have this little shifting, and you'll have this little check mark coming inside here. Again, you'll have this check mark. You'll have guys coming down, protecting the back four, 4-4-2. Sometimes you might even see one of the strikers come in here and pick up on a midfielder, and it kind of looks like a 4-4-1-1. Okay, fine. That's the easiest way to play a football and to defend. So what do you want to do to this back four if you're the United States of America? Now let's just focus just on the back four right here. This back four, you want to spread them out. So you want to have width. Because if you have a player here and a player here, you're automatically, by default, you're going to create some space between the lines if they don't shift, right? Which means now you have overload runs, or you're going to create that shift hard like I showed you, and you're going to leave space on the weak side where they can attack and they can cross balls and everything else. So I think that's the important thing. So how the U.S. will play, right? We've had some jokes around it, people talking about they're playing like a pentagon formation. Bosnia now will play deep like this, right? 4-4-2, like we spoke about. And the U.S., to open them up, they will not play with a back two. They won't play with a back two. This new formation that we're seeing is a three center back system, right? So that it will look like this. These are the three center backs. Now, these fullbacks here, these are called wingbacks. These wingbacks will go high and wide. They'll actually become attackers. And at times, a lot of times, the teams that know how to play well, they'll become the highest players on the field. So there's your width right there. These guys will connect to the back line in defensive stage, and in the attacking stage, they'll be sometimes even the highest players in the field. Flo Balogun will be here, and then they will get runners from the midfield here as this shapes up, right? And now the unique thing about the U.S. and what they want to do is, as this ball, let's say, swings wide, right, and the numbers are like this, these three center backs will go and rest right on these blue shirts. Back in the day, you would see guys happy to be here, right? They might do something like this, right? That's what normally you see. The U.S. is going, no, we play rock and roll football. We stay here. Go ahead, come and try to beat us. And the reason why they can do this is because they're so quick and they're so athletically gifted. Now, just quickly, last thing. The two most dangerous players on Bosnia are Alabegovic and the other winger, Dzeko, obviously Demirovic up top. So just look at their front four right here. Again, this is their 4-4-2. These two guys will try to occupy center backs. Here's the danger man right here. And he is going to start in the wide areas for them. So they have to be in this five-man. The beauty of this 5 or 3 center back system is that when these guys are not attacking these two wing backs that are so essential to the formation, these guys will connect again to the back line. And the U.S. will have Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, probably Tillman protecting this area, even if Tillman cheats a little bit, right? But this will look like a back 5 with 2 protectors in front of them at all times. These 5 here plus the 2 protectors. Now let's say Dest gets caught up. One of the midfielders will make that ground up and they'll shift accordingly. So this is what it will look like, I think, 4-4-2 against a 3 center back system. And I think there'll be no surprise on the day. Alabegovic is a danger man. Rest defense is important.
And 3 draws. Paraguay have their red and white vertical striped shirts with the white shorts and the red socks. Their first few meaningful touches of this game. We will probably quickly learn. I know Australia went long from the kickoff towards the Paraguay 18-yard box, so we will probably learn pretty quickly how this game might play out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've obviously been talking about it, haven't we? Will Paraguay go for this because they need the win? They want the favourable draw in the next round, but I just can't see them changing their style too much. But like you mentioned, I'm sure we'll see that. I watched them in the sort of opening 2 games, not really that bothered about having the ball. It was more about when they went forward, about being clinical.
Paraguay tried a couple of long balls forward whilst Sue was talking there, and Lucas Harrington's head of Australia met both of them. Now there is the blonde-dyed hair of Julio Enciso. Once of Brighton coming forward, and Enciso now playing at Strasbourg. 12 goals and 9 assists for the French side this season, but boss Gary O'Neill feels he does lose the ball too often, and he did just that there. Australia in possession inside their own penalty area, away to our right-hand side. The most Australian-looking player, Jackson Irvin's, just swept the ball out towards the far side. He's got the long blonde hair, shoulder-length hair. He's got a moustache as well. He would not be out of place on Bondi Beach, I have to say, with a surfboard in hand. But away it goes from Paraguay. Australia had played the long ball forward, a little bit up in the air, the ball in these opening exchanges. Played a couple of minutes. It is 0-0. Ball goes out in front of Tony Popovic, the Australian manager. He's got his black suit on, black shirt, black tie as well. Gives you an element of the Diego Simeone's about him with that fashion sense that he's demonstrating. His last ever game for Australia, incidentally, was against Paraguay. He scored in his 8th. He scored his 8th goal in his final 59th cap for Australia. In the sunshine, left-back position, Paraguay moved the ball up towards the halfway line. Needs Enciso to race towards it. They get away with that and try and play the ball into the centre circle, but it's picked off by Australia, who now have 2 forward, looking towards the edge of the penalty area on the turn. Volpato, but he couldn't make it count. Irinkunda heads the ball up in the air, and away it goes from Paraguay, 0-0.
There's been a lot of turnovers, hasn't there, in these early stages of the game, and it was quite interesting to see how Paraguay were going to line up. I know they're quite fluid, but it does look like they've gone to a sort of back 3 or a back 5, maybe to match up Australia. We know that they like to play that, but yeah, at the moment, both of them just giving the ball away a bit too much.
So 0-0 here after 3 minutes. How's it started? USA, Turkey, Sahel Sahi.
Electric start here in Los Angeles. Turkey 0, United States 1. Austin Trusty with a goal from a corner. It was flighted to the far post. Trusty was there just outside the 6-yard box, and he smashed it home left-footed. Very, very good start from the hosts, USA. Turkey 0, USA 1.
Here Australia have a corner. Jackson Irvin's had a shot that needed to be pushed behind by Hill, the Paraguay goalkeeper. He was going for the rising shot at the near post, right at the penalty area. Trusty's goal then for the US, the 173rd at this World Cup. It is the most ever at a World Cup, beating the record that was set in Qatar 3.5 years ago. 0-0 here. Australia corner in the shade on that far side. Referee, who this evening is Clement Turpin of France, just wants a word with those players in and around the 6-yard box where the jostling is going on. Everybody back here for Paraguay as the corner goes in. It won't be flicked on by the head of Jackson Irvin at the near post, meets a Paraguay player instead, and Australia get it back to the centre circle. Sue Smith.
Yeah, it was actually a really good move from Australia with Jackson Irvin and the end of it, but they did well on the right-hand side. Lovely combination play, and Irvin just made that late run into the box. He was sort of right of centre, and his shot was straight at the goalkeeper, but nice little move to break down that Paraguay defence.
Scotland have an interest in this game as well. A defeat by 2 or more goals for Paraguay will have them drop below Scotland in the best place, third place teams, if that makes sense. Paraguay currently started the day, or this game, 7th, Scotland 8th. However, a point for Paraguay, looking positive, would rocket them up to 4th in those standings for the best placed third finishing teams. Scotland in 8th. Below them, Cape Verde, Belgium, DR Congo and Senegal. All will play over the next couple of days. So Scotland's future at the World Cup is in jeopardy after that heavy defeat to Brazil last night. In Group D, with that USA goal, they're going to make it 3 wins and 3. They have 9 points. Australia second on 4, looking to face Iran in the next game. Paraguay would be third and facing Germany. Ball on the edge of the centre circle for Paraguay. They now try and play it out to the left-hand side, and Ciso tries to guide his way between 2 Australian players. Didn't win the ball first time around. Australia caught in possession, and then Ciso has won the free kick midway inside the Aussie half, left-hand side.
It's real tenacious play, isn't it, from Enciso? We said earlier that he was their key player, and he starts out wide but just looks to find sort of little pockets of space in the midfield area, and he does that there. He's got 2 Australian players around him, but just manages to use his body, hold them off, and win his team a free kick in a dangerous position.
He's got 6 assists in his last 4 matches as Julio Enciso, including a hat-trick in the Strasbourg 5-4 win over Monaco in May. Attention on this free kick then. Midway inside the Australia half, left-hand side, they square it into the middle for Caceres, who now lifts the ball into the penalty area. Beach comes and claims it, all in black, the Australian goalkeeper, and quickly balls it overarm, looking to release Irinkunda on the right-hand side, and he has. It's a great overarm throw. Irinkunda just holds the ball up, does his job, awaits for support in those yellow shirts of Australia. Plenty of yellow in the crowd as well, plenty of inflatable kangaroos in the crowd as well. Saw that before kick-off. Ball with Harrington, now into the middle of the park, inside the Paraguay half for Australia, but they've worked it back towards Harrington once again. Harry Suter, huge standing figure of the centre-back for Australia. His brother John, also at the World Cup playing for Scotland, is Conor Metcalfe out towards this near side touchline for Aziz Behic, the Melbourne City player. gets the ball back again, just a yard or two in from the touchline. Australia happy to keep the possession, keeping it nicely as well.
Yeah, they are, and I think this is something that they're going to have to get used to, having a lot more of the ball and trying to break down this Paraguay side. The other two games, they haven't really had a lot of the ball themselves, but yeah, just staying patient at the moment.
And they get free on the right-hand side towards the byline. Sliding challenge comes in from Galarza, Matthias Galarza. And that is the first corner of the game. It is an Australian, the second corner of the game, it's an Australian one.
Yeah, Volpato does well, doesn't he, on that right-hand side. He, you know, quick, nimble plays, quite agile, and, you know, trying to get on the outside of the defence and get the delivery in, but he's won his team a corner.
Galarza sliding in, leaping in, smoothly and correctly as well. The Atlanta United player plays his football in the States. He's on loan there from River Plate. Corner floated in towards the rear of the penalty area towards Harry Suter, who at 6'6" is no surprise that he's the target man in the penalty area. O'Neill races for it near side, goes out of play. We've had 8 minutes, it's 0-0.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Australia will certainly look to try and capitalise on, those set pieces. Like you say, they've got tall players, they've got players that are good in the air. If the delivery's right, you feel that they could potentially have an opportunity from a cross, a set piece, whatever it may be.
Perhaps no surprise it is goalless where Paraguay are concerned. They were the stingiest side in terms of any team to qualify for these finals in qualifying, just 0.78 goals per game on average, 14 goals in 18 World Cup qualifiers, and at the back, equally as tight, only Ecuador shipped fewer goals in South American qualifying. Paraguay conceded just 10 in 18 games. Now at their 9th World Cup and hoping to make the stay last a little longer as well. Long-range shot, corner of the penalty area. Zero curl on it, so it absolutely flies high and wide at the right-hand side of the goal from Jackson Irvin.
Yeah, and you know, the ball gets delivered into the box, and Paraguay don't clear their lines properly, and when it falls there just on the edge of the box, looking to curl it into the far corner, but completely gets underneath it, goes way over the bar.
I hope that's the sun reflecting on the floodlights at the Bay Area Stadium. They certainly don't need the floodlights in action. But there was certainly a tinge off them as we look towards the skies, following a replay behind one of the goals. 0-0, Paraguay-Australia. As it stands, Australia finishing second in this group, Paraguay finishing third, as Suter and Avalos come together. Suter leading in with an elbow. Paraguay have a free kick, but players just needing a little bit of attention. He'll slowly get to his feet. And actually, play resumes. Harrington going back to his goalkeeper in Patrick Beach, who is now getting his 5th cap for Australia. Perhaps some surprise that he is elected as the #1, but showing his worth with that clean sheet in the win over Turkey. Here come Australia dancing their way into the penalty area. Lovely step over, lovely work. And he's cleared away. I was going to say a pigeon, but I'm not sure they have pigeons in America. Certainly in San Francisco, has to quickly evacuate the centre circle with the ball coming towards it. So it flies rapidly in the air. Australia in possession. Irvin finds Harrington 0-0.
It was actually really good play again, and Australia are getting some joy down that right-hand side. It was a good overlapping run from the wing-back. Lovely, you know, couple of step-overs. Manages to get himself into a position, but, yeah, just couldn't quite find that final pass into the area, but nice play.
So 0-0 on the night where Elliot Anderson is subject to a £130 million move to Manchester City. For Paraguay, Diego Gomez is the most expensive player out there. His move to Brighton cost them £11 million. For Australia, their most expensive transfer out is Jordan Boss, £4.5 million, when he swapped one Belgian club in Westerlo for another in Standard Liège. Some remarkable chasms at this World Cup of player values, but all coming together on the world stage, and all so far providing us with a very entertaining World Cup. We've already had the 173rd goal with Aaron Trusty at the US, putting them 1-0 up, and we might be going back to Los Angeles shortly again to get the latest between the US and Turkey. Free kick given to Paraguay just before the halfway line inside their own half. 0-0 here. We've played nearly 12 minutes. Free kick.
Yeah, it's just a free kick, isn't it? There you can see Australia going up for the header, trying to win the ball. I think it's Sakati, isn't it? Goes up with his arms raised, and yeah, the referee just thought it was a little bit too much and has given the free kick to Paraguay.
Wish they'd just knocked back into their own half. I said we're off to LA, and the reason is, Sahel Sahi.
Turkey have equalised. It's Turkey 1, USA 1. First time Turkey ventured forward into the USA half, and it was Arda Güler. We were talking about him pre-match, Mike. He has scored Turkey's first goal at this World Cup. Turkey 1, United States 1.
Finally comes to the world stage, Arda Güler, of course impressing in the Champions League this season with Real Madrid. 0-0 here. One Aussie fan and his dad in the crowd, dad holding a can of beer, as Australia have to try and hunt down Velasquez of Paraguay just before the halfway line. He finds Gustavo Gomez, the captain, who has played in 4 World Cup qualifying campaigns and finally gets his first shot. This Paraguay's first World Cup since 2010. Back then they conceded late to Spain in a quarter-final. It's been a long wait for the nation of Paraguay. And can they get a win that would lift them into second and have them facing Iran as it stands? Although Iran's group, which features Belgium and New Zealand plus Egypt, will conclude tomorrow, so it might not be Iran just yet. Here are Australia. Iran Kunda back to goal, can't force a ball to his teammate under a little bit of pressure, goes down to the ground, has a look towards the French referee Clement Turpin, but nothing given, and Paraguay have the ball just outside the centre circle. 0-0.
I think there's been a lot of Australian fans that wanted Iran Kunda to start from the off, really. We know that he can be that impact player, and he's obviously started today, and you can see straight away that Paraguay, whenever he gets the ball, they're not allowing him to turn. They know that he's a danger once he gets running in behind, and he can exploit any sort of spaces. He's got those little tricks and flicks, but at the moment Paraguay are dealing with him really well.
Scored in that win over Turkey, the 2-0 win for Australia on their opening World Cup match. The Watford man, 20 years old. Long ball forward by Paraguay, flick to the left-hand side there, volleyed cross, cushioned cross. Well, I thought had gone out of play, but neither Clement Turpin or his official on this near side have awarded Paraguay the corner. They can't check that on VAR, they can't overturn that on VAR, and in the meantime, free kick Australia inside the centre circle.
Yeah, again, it's Iran Kunda. He's got 2 players around him. He comes short to try and receive the ball, and they're just not allowing him to turn. When he comes short, they're then looking for the wide players to try and stretch the play a little bit, but he's won his team a free kick just inside his own half.
Australia at their 6th successive World Cup. They had a 32-year gap between 1974 and 2006, but they've not failed to qualify since then. Jackson Irvine contesting for the ball, sticking a stray leg out, quickly trying to follow it when it was ricocheting around in Paraguay's left-back position, far side of the field, as we look at it, lengthening shadows in San Francisco. Maybe by the end of the game those floodlights might be needed, but it is certainly bright down there for now. Long clip ball forward towards the halfway line for Paraguay, and Ciso will chase out towards the touchline. Irvine throws himself between Ciso and the ball, sends it back down the touchline, takes a deflection, as the Paraguay manager looks rather relaxed on the edge of his technical area. Gustavo Alfaro, his 6th World Cup, of which 4 of them were for Colombian TV. He was Ecuador's boss in 2022, and now gets his shot with Paraguay. He's got the nation performing. When he came in, he shuffled things around a little bit. He said all I had to do was shake the tree so the spiders would fall off, and we realised the fruit is there. And qualifying them for a first World Cup since 2010 has borne some fruit, but they'll want a little bit more. They are set for the round of 32 as it stands as one of the best 3rd place teams. Australia try and build. Harrington playing keepy up with himself on the edge of the centre circle. Paraguay win the possession back. There is a player stricken. The whole bench of Paraguay off out of their dugout on the edge of the technical area, along with Gustavo Alfaro. It is Diego Gomez, the Brighton man, who is down clutching his head. Didn't see the incident, but it had the Paraguay bench rattled, that's for sure.
Yeah, it did. I think what they're saying is it's a head injury. You've got to you have to stop it, and whether the referee just didn't see it in time, and it is a stray elbow, isn't it? I don't think there's any force in it as they go up for the header. I think it's just a connection with him. It's bound to hurt. I don't think there'll be anything other than a free kick. He doesn't mean it. He's just using his arms for leverage, but it's bound to be a sore one for Gomez.
Alfaro just readjusts his suit jacket, having lost his composure momentarily with that appeal for the foul on Diego Gomez. Played 17 minutes, BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds, Paraguay 0, Australia 0. Thank you for joining us. If you're up at 3 a.m. UK time, maybe it's a little later or earlier for you, wherever you're listening around the world. Plenty more action to come on 5 Live tomorrow. Starts at 8 o'clock, Norway-France. That's going to be a cracking game. Two teams who've won both of their games so far. That will decide who tops Group I. Senegal, Iraq, updates of that from 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. Uruguay, Spain from Group H is going to be a classic. Updates of Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia. Then at 4 a.m, small hours of Saturday morning, you've got commentary of Egypt, Iran, with updates of New Zealand against Belgium. Australia have had a free kick. You were interested in that free kick, Sue Smith?
Yeah, it was just that Caceres just flew in two-footed.
Cross low, in across the 6-yard box on the right-hand side of Australia. Cleared away by Paraguay. Battled again by Volpato on that far right-hand side. For the Oceanic side, they win it back and charge towards the corner of the 18-yard box again. Try another cross, this time with a little more power. Ball flies up into the air, lands on the roof of the net. It will be an Australian corner far side. Yeah,
they're pressing well, Australia, when Paraguay do try to play the ball out from the back. They're hunting them down in numbers, not just in ones, and they're winning the ball high up the field, which is exactly what the manager would want them to do.
Volpato, whose debut for the national side only came earlier this month in a warm-up game against Switzerland, is now looking to take this corner on the far side. Australia's right, still 1-1 Turkey against the USA. Volpato, who held on as long as he could to represent Italy, switched for Australia. Italy not qualifying for the World Cup. Corner sent in near post, headed away and down by Gustavo Gomez. Australia recover the ball, but that's the second time in this game they've gone for the near post corner. It's not worked. Rule number 1 of a corner: beat your first man. Australia now play the long ball, bounces out for a Paraguay goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, it's a poor corner. Volpato takes it from there, the left-hand side. He's looking to just whip it into that near post. I think it's Irvin who's going to the near post to try and flick it on, but they can't beat the first Paraguay defender. And you just think we've spoke about the likes of Suter, who's got that real height and physical presence in there. Get the delivery into the box, get it right.
So, sent away by the Paraguay goalkeeper, Orlando Hill, who plays his football in Argentina. Practices free kicks, but he said he's not asked his coach yet to take one in this tournament. I guess if the game is going well for Paraguay later on, maybe he'll fancy an effort, but for now holds off. 0-0, 20 minutes played in San Francisco, and already you can see the hot temperatures, hair sticking to the forehead of some of the players with longer hair. Drenched shirts clinging to their chests. It's been warm again in the UK today. I hope you've managed to try and keep cool wherever you are. Players have no choice out there, as Enciso moves out diagonally towards the far side touchline as he tried to check back. He lost control of the ball, and it went out of play for an Australian throw in their right back position. Sweden, Ecuador, Bosnia all set for the round of 32 as a third place team. But Paraguay and Australia still in contention for one of those places. A little cushion across the edge of the D that was inviting a Paraguay player to attack. Suter finding Harrington, and Harrington just getting there. Now the ball passed forward by Caceres down this near side for Paraguay. Suter picks up the loose ball, plays a 1-2, still inside his own penalty area here. Jackson Irvin drops into a pocket of midfield space and just allows the players a chance to spread out. O'Neill out towards this near side, finds Conor Metcalf, back to Harrington, and once again Australia just show that element of composure.
Yeah, they haven't. I just think from a Paraguay perspective, they've just lacked that little bit of quality in the final third.
Dealt with the long ball. Paraguay's mean defence, we know that anyway. Here's Metcalf, 25 yards from goal, left-footed shot slammed into the red boots of a charging defender just outside the D. The ball runs all the way back into the Australian half and nearly out for a throw-in front of Tony Popovic. Australia will go again. Yeah,
do you know, it just sat up nicely. It was a good touch out of the feet, and as they went to strike it, Paraguay did so well and just closed it down, closed the chance, and that's what they had to do against Turkey, didn't they? They had to defend, they had to put bodies on the line, and they were so impressive to do that.
Metcalf, a little simple pass out towards this near side touchline. Finds Behic, plays it back to Metcalf. Those two try and quicken up the play on this near side, and that seemed like a touch on Metcalf. Last it was Paraguay throw. Cáceres will take it. He has those prominent ears, but as openly said in public before, he's not fazed by it, doesn't mind any of the stick that he may get for his appearance. He plays on, he's very happy, and that's great to see as well. Good to see him openly trying to slam down the bullies, I guess. 5'8" tall. He's not the tallest man, but he's been important so far for Paraguay. The hydration break caused, they'll need that out there. Midway through this first half, Paraguay 0, Australia 0, Sue Smith. I would say neither are playing for the draw. That was our debate pre-game. Paraguay playing like Paraguay do, and it's all about being calm at the back.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be moments, isn't it, and making sure that they are clinical. You can see that Paraguay aren't really trying to play through the thirds. I don't think we expected them to do that. They are looking to go long and looking for Enciso in any sort of gaps. He's playing just off Avalos, and I think from an Australia perspective, when they go forward and they move it quickly, especially down the right-hand side, they have caused Paraguay some problems. So yeah, they'll be looking to do the same thing, but maybe just both sides have just lacked that little bit of quality. I can't remember either goalkeeper making a save.
Both coaches here looking pretty passionate. Gustavo Alfaro, as the Paraguay manager, has got his players in a huddle around him, showing them something. Can't quite see it in a notepad or whether it's an iPad of some sort, but he's certainly got some tactical instructions to his team. Tony Popovic, as the players wash the back of their necks with water, is also gesticulating rather frantically towards a couple of his players as well, moving his left and right forearms in and out of his body, trying to perhaps show a change of pace or a combination that he wants from his side. So we're 0-0 here. The last we heard in LA, it was Turkey 1, USA 1. Latest, Sahel Sahi?
Yeah, it's still the same, Mike. We're just finishing the hydration break in Los Angeles. It's been a high-tempo start. The United States taking the lead after 3 minutes through Austin Trusty. Then 7 minutes later, Turkey equalising. That was their 63rd shot at this World Cup. Their first goal through the young magician from Real Madrid. Some stargazing going on here in Los Angeles. Brad Pitt and Ed Norton are in attendance. It's Turkey 1, United States 1.
Thanks, Sahel. We've not had Celeb Cam here yet, have we, in this game?
No, we haven't. I'm a bit disappointed there. Bit of a mic drop, wasn't it? There?
I'm not surprised USA have brought in the big stars. Be interesting to see who's here for Australia, Paraguay, if indeed we get a shot of that later. But the players slowly fanning back out onto the pitch. A pocketed yellow visible behind our goal to the right-hand side of Australia fans. Some have come in wigs, although I imagine those wigs are soaked through with sweat. It is warm in San Francisco. Paraguay fans bringing the party, dancing during the hydration break as well, as we get ready for the restart, which starts with that Paraguay throw in the right-back position. Paraguay, red shirts with the white stripes, of course, the white shorts, the red socks are from left to right. Australia, yellow shirts, the golden yellow shirts, the dark green shorts, and the white socks are from right to left. Let's see how that hydration break has perhaps been used tactically, as Australia poke the ball away from the touchline on this near side. Irankunda just turns it round the corner to the edge of the centre circle. Then the through ball played back out to the left-hand side for Metcalf. Caceres with him. Half step overs from Metcalf as he tries to move back towards the corner of the penalty area. He can't successfully. Has the support of O'Neill there. That got a touch. Did it out for a corner? I think the referee might have called it back for a free kick to Australia. Has he? Metcalf is down. And the referee, Clement Turpin, is just calling, I think, a Medicon. Oh, that's why, because, not necessarily intentionally, but Cubas here, in going down to the floor with Metcalf, has, actually, has stuck his left leg out and caught Metcalf in the face with his boot. It's hard on slow motion replays to tell what's natural and what's not. Was it intentional, what's not? We haven't had the message for a VAR check, so I think it was accidental, Susan.
Yeah, I think it was accidental. It's certainly a sore one for Metcalf. But yeah, as Cubas is challenging him, as he goes down, it's just his back leg sort of flicks round and sort of back heels him in the face. So it's bound to be. So you couldn't see it. I think it was completely accidental. I don't think he meant that. I don't even think he was looking at him. I think he was just trying to regain his balance from that. But I just thought Metcalf, he picked the ball up on the left-hand side, lovely couple of little step overs. He could have whipped the ball in for Irakunde. He'd made a run centrally. He was in between the two defenders. I just think he took too many touches and just allowed them to get back.
There's a lot of blood on the right palm of Conor Metcalf. The medics are on receiving treatment. He has clearly been caught with a stud. Has the St. Pauli player. Only made 3 league starts this season for the German side. Missed World Cup 22 because of injury. He is getting his chance at the World Cup 26. He was caught by Cubas, who the only way he's going to kick a player in the face, accidentally, we must add, is by a player being down on the floor. He's only 5'6" tall. So any form of karate kick wouldn't get anywhere near the head of Conor Metcalf. But an unfortunate incident. The cotton wool is out, wiping all the blood away from Metcalf. He'll be bandaged up, strapped up. There'll be glue put on. Yeah, black bandage strapped around his forehead. A nasty one, but a freak one.
Yeah, it was. Like I say, it certainly wasn't meant. It was completely accidental. But yeah, he's all bandaged up. Looks, I think he's got to change his shirt as well. There must be blood on his shirt.
Yeah, they've got a fresh one ready for him. I'm just seeing how fresh this shirt is. Has it got his name on the back? It has. Fair enough. Sometimes teams aren't as prepared, and you'll either get a player with no number, a random number, no name, but Conor Metcalf is fully equipped for Australia. Play will resume with a Paraguay goal kick. Paraguay 0, Australia 0. Nearly half an hour played in San Francisco. LA the destination for USA Turkey. Updates throughout the morning of that one on BBC Radio 5 Live. Of course, 5 Live breakfast from 6 o'clock with Rick Edwards in LA. Rick Edwards and Lloyd Griffith will have your Football Daily. That will drop every morning to wherever you get your podcasts from. And we'll have all the extra insight, big name guests as well. Interviews from inside the England and Scotland camps. England will play Saturday night against Panama in that final group stage game. Of course, tomorrow on Sports Extra from 11, day 2 of the 3rd test at Trent Bridge, England against New Zealand. New Zealand closing 361 for 4 on day 1. Test match special team will have you covered with that. Long throw-in from Paraguay. One man to aim for in the penalty area in form of Alvalos, who goes down. Nothing given, and now Australia maybe on the counter-attack. They can get to the halfway line. Have to say, really, both sides in the final third have been poor.
Yeah, they have, and that's where Australia have to do better. Paraguay had committed men forward. There was sort of space to exploit, and Australia just give the ball away. They were closed down. They took too many touches, and that's where it's been lacking. The midfield, the build-up's not been too bad, but then it's got into those final third areas, and they've really just lacked quality, both sides.
Paraguay know a draw will see them into the round of 32. And won't be able to be caught by any of the teams currently 9th to 12th in the 8th best placed. What am I trying to say? It's that time in the morning. The 8 third place teams. They could be caught by a few, but not all of them. So Paraguay in possession, 0-0. The draw suits them. The draw certainly suits Australia, who are currently standing to face Iran. Paraguay would face Germany. Another goal in LA. Which way, Sahel Sahi?
Gone the way of Turkey. They were behind. They're now leading United States of America by 2-1. A venturous attacking play down the left-hand side. They got to the dead ball line, pulled it back, and Koçu was there to slide it home from 7 yards away. They're on the attack once again. Turkey 2, USA 1.
Doesn't matter to the US. They're already going to top the group. They've got the better head-to-head record against Australia and Paraguay. So whoever wins this would match USA on points, but not be able to overtake them. Turkey giving themselves some pride to go out with. They are already out, having lost their opening 2 games. Turkey would have 3 points, but better head-to-head record for Paraguay and Australia, who beat Turkey earlier on in the tournament. Flying goals, or raining goals in the sunshine of LA and the sunshine of San Francisco, yet quite to have that impact. 0-0, Australia free kick on the touchline near side. Cáceres involved again. He's going to have many battles on this near side. Going to have to be careful though. Yellow card. And he's at risk of missing the game in the last 32.
Yeah, it was just a little bit clumsy, that one. You know, Bahich sort of gets his body in the way, and he's just trying to put his leg around and nick the ball, and yeah, just a bit clumsy from Cáceres, but like you say, he's got to be careful.
The sun's shining in from the southwest corner of the ground as we look at it. Most of the pitch now in shade. Free kick to Australia then. Volpato raises a right arm in the air. A little bit of strapping on his left wrist. His feet shoulder width apart as he now jogs up to the ball, squares it instantly to O'Neill. O'Neill right-footed, drifts it in. Same point of the final third, certainly the 18-yard box being poor for both teams. It just drifts behind all the way for a goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, we've said set pieces as well hasn't been great for Australia. They have a couple of corners that they haven't beat the first man, and there it's a wide free kick. You think he's just going to deliver it into the box, and he doesn't. Volpato plays it inside to O'Neill, changes that angle, but just drives the ball to nobody. The runs were at the far post and completely missed everybody. Poor.
So the Bay Area Stadium, watching on, huge, sweeping, steep arena, red seats, 4 tiers on the far side, 3 stands that flow from the west to the east side via the stand opposite. The bottom tier is conjoined to this main stand where we are to create that flow, but rising vertically above the bottom tier. Levels of hospitality boxes. It's got a flat-backed entrance. It reminds me a little bit of the Mestalla, the home of Valencia. How it rises sharply. A little greater in attendance though here in San Francisco. It hosted the Super Bowl back in February. Australia had the ball on the halfway line. Bad Bunny was the halftime show. That said, there's going to be a halftime show at this year's World Cup final for the very first time. Make of that what you will, along with all the gimmicks we've had, hydration breaks included. 0-0, Australia building. O'Neill, right-footed, corner of the penalty area, switches it, moves it out towards the touchline. Might get it back here. There is going to be a long-range effort. First one on target. Orlando Hill behind it. It was Jordan Boss coming in from the right-hand side. Got enough pace behind it, but not the direction, and Hill gathers on his goal line. Yeah, but much better from Australia. They moved the ball quickly. I think we said Tony Popovic was speaking to his players in that hydration break, and he was sort of signalling things to them. I think he was saying you've got to move the ball quickly. You've got to try and break this Paraguay team down by doing that, and that's exactly what they did. Good play from Boss. Comes inside onto that sort of left foot, but straight at the goalkeeper. You'd expect Hill to save it. Tony Boss still in that all-black suit, the shirt and tie included in the black number. Said his squad will be better in 4 or 8 years' time. It's a young squad for Australia. To say that doesn't mean they're not good enough now, it just means they will only ever improve. Only 9 of the 26 in the Australian squad featured at the 2022 World Cup. Australia low ball to the right-hand side, midway inside the Paraguay half. 0-0 still the score. Here's Boss. Boss will get the turn again just inside the penalty area. Now the players all swarm around. The ball needs someone to be decisive. It's Andre Cubas of Paraguay who does just that. Now Julio Enciso gets across the halfway line. He's got the defenders on the back foot. He turns infield, flicks back out towards the left-hand side. Good marshalling by Chiacati. Pokes it out for a throw into Paraguay.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want from your forward, your number 10, however you want to call Enciso. Just takes the pressure off the defence. He drives with the ball, 2 players around him, and wins his team a throw-in, but he does that so well.
Paraguay 0, Australia 0. 8 minutes to half-time. Throw-in into the penalty area. Flicked on by one head. Where's it going to fall? Well, Avalos had to be better there, just outside the penalty spot. And he just shoved the boot at it, and well, whether he lost his geography or not, it went well wide of the left frame of the goal.
Yeah, I just think he was on his heels, wasn't he? The throw-in come in, they won the first header, and then just on his heels, couldn't quite get that touch that he needed to be able to get his shot away.
Avalos still without that international goal in over 3 years. 7 goals in 11 league matches for Independiente of Argentina in 2026. So he doesn't know how to find the net, just not for his nation. Club versus country, it's club winning for Gabriel Avalos, the number 21 of Paraguay. Popovic looks a little bit frustrated, wafting his arms up into the air, but they try a throw between the gap on the corner of the penalty area there. Australia, Jackson Irvine was running in, unsuccessfully so. Australia having the greater possession, 50%. To Paraguay's 36%, 14% in contest. Quite a high stat, I think, for that, and just kind of shows how scrappy the game has been at times.
Yeah, it has, and both teams have been prone to giving the ball away, and you know, I think the defensive area, the middle area has been okay. It's just when they've got into those final third, they just can't find the quality. I think the movement from Australia forward players have been better in the latter stages of the first half, but again, just that the passing maybe hasn't been crisp enough.
0-0, perhaps no surprise where Paraguay are concerned. Defeat to the US 4-1 on their opening match round was the first time they conceded more than one in their last 10 World Cup matches, going all the way back to 2002. They are notoriously stingy at both ends. They're going to win it 1-0. Ball back inside their own penalty area, away to the left-hand side. Gustavo Gomez flicks it out using Alderete of Sunderland, who will be playing Europa League football next season, with Sunderland finishing 7th in the Premier League. Part of that Regis Lebris mass recruitment last summer, one of the most successful ones of those. Regis Lebris has said sometimes the game is too easy for Omar Alderete, the way he deals with long balls and duels.
Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? I thought he played well against Turkey. I just think that, like you say, his duels are very good. He's that sort of towering, commanding centre-back, but he's also good on the ball. He can progress from the back. So, yeah, got to agree with Lebris there. It's hard to say that this time in the morning.
I was going to say at 20 to 4 in the morning in the UK. Sun will slowly be coming up. I can see the end of the night sky. There's a little lighter tinge over Media City in Salford. The sun rises in the UK. Here's the dramatics. The sun is setting in San Francisco. 0-0, 5 minutes to half-time. BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds bringing you all the latest from the World Cup. Jim will be back at half-time. Here's Velázquez. Plays his football in Paraguay. He's 35 years old. His international debut only came at the age of 33. He's on the near right-hand side. Ball has been worked out towards the far left-hand side of Paraguay, but Australia have won it back. Good sliding interception. And it comes in from Cubas. Stops the sting of the Australian counter-attack. They've worked it back. They now play the long ball, asking Behic to chase down. He can't. Out of play. Throw in. 0-0.
Right idea, though. They pick the ball up. It's sort of in the right back area, Australia, and Behic makes that run forward from wing back into the channel where there was space, but just overhit the pass. But the switcher play was certainly the right idea to try and just break down this, like you say, stingy Paraguay defence.
So still Turkey 2, USA 1. That has no impact on the group. United States were always going to top it. Turkey were always going home. Key match of focus is this one, where Australia are currently second and heading to play Iran. Paraguay set for Germany. No disrespect to Iran, but they will be the more favourable of Germany or themselves as an opponent. So battle on for Paraguay to try and find a winner in this game, which would swap those opponents around for them. Here's Cubas in the strip of sun on the far side that moves at an angle across the pitch into the centre circle for Omar Alderete, and his jet black hair finds Cáceres to Diego Gomez of Brighton, injured in April but recovered to come back on the final day of the season. 10 goals in 37 games for Brighton this season. Avalos forced out towards the corner on the edge of the penalty area on the left-hand side. Paraguay slowly building here. Will they get a chance before the end of the first half? They've gone for safety first. They've worked it back towards the edge of the centre circle. Velázquez, Cáceres, back to Velázquez again. They're probably in their best spell of possession.
They've kept the ball really well. They've worked it from left to right, but Australia's shape's been excellent. They've not been able to break through them, and now they've ended up losing the ball. Probably overplayed it a little bit there, Paraguay, but they just couldn't go forward. They couldn't break Australia down.
Yeah, Australia send the long clearance away with their goalkeeper, Patrick Beach. If you're just waking up, then earlier results, the midnight games: Japan 1, Sweden 1, Tunisia 1, Netherlands 3. Netherlands topping that group. That's Group F. Japan will finish second and will face Brazil. And as it stands for Sweden, it is France in the round of 32. France against Norway. Your commentary tomorrow evening or this evening, I should say, from 8 o'clock on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The earlier games of the evening/night, they were 8 o'clock kickoffs. Curacao 0, Ivory Coast 2. Ecuador came from behind to beat Germany. That was in Group E. So Germany top the group. As it stands, are going to face Paraguay. Ivory Coast, as it stands, will take on Norway, and Ecuador will face England. We're near the final minute of the first half. Paraguay 0, Australia 0.
Yeah, I just think, you know, both sides have had spells, haven't they, where they've maybe been decent in possession, lacked in the latter part of the pitch, but they'll be looking to certainly finish the half strong. If you can go in at half-time 1-0 up, just changes that sort of team talk, doesn't it?
Australia will know they're really in the box seat to finish second in the group if they can do that. They've never won a knockout game, Australia. They've been to the knockouts a couple of times. And they will hope for better this year. Jackson Irving with that tied-back blonde hair tries to play it down the right-hand side. Paraguay, first time of asking, flick the ball high in the air. It's then headed out of play for a Paraguay throw. Some very quiet Paraguay fans relaxed in their seats or leaning on the railings of the Bay Area Stadium, the Levi Stadium as you may also know it, although there's been some clever covering up of the sponsorships in this ground. You may have seen on social media the way they've covered up the Levi's name with just the outside of the Levi's logo. Ball bounces into the penalty area for Patrick Beach, who is still electing for the long sleeves on his goalkeeper top despite the warm conditions in Western America. 6 minutes of added time. Paraguay 0, Australia 0.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a superstition thing. I often did things like that. If I'd played well in a game and it was long sleeves, even if it was boiling, I would still be wearing those long sleeves in the next game.
Got the confidence of his manager, Tony Popovich, as Patrick Beach. He was pulled to the side a couple of days before the first World Cup game and told he would be the #1. There is experience in the Australian ranks. Matthew Ryan, who will be known for his time at Brighton and Arsenal, has over 100 caps. He's on the bench. Paul Izzo, only a handful of caps himself, plays his football in Denmark. But it is Beach giving the nod. He had a clean sheet against Turkey. He's getting one against Paraguay. And Australia looked to break the Paraguay defence, pushed away by Hill. Shot came in from the right-hand side of the penalty area. Seemed a relatively easy save for the goalkeeper, just diving slightly off his goal line to push away. Quick throw-in from Australia. Behic thought about the step-overs, tries the cross. That's blocked off by Velázquez. And a throw-in to Australian near side.
Yeah, I think it was Volpato, wasn't it, on the right-hand side, and they've certainly caused problems here. He cuts in on his left foot. This is a sort of cross-come shot. He's just looking for that far post and hoping that somebody gets on the end of it. And in the end, it's a reasonable save for Hill.
Second shot on target for Australia. Now Bahic flicks the ball up to himself, then tries to volley in a cross that just drifts and swings behind for a goal kick. Glug of water for Tony Popovic. Won't be too impressed with that as we get another look at that Volpato shot.
Yeah, he does well. Like I say, he shifts the ball quite well onto his left foot, and he is looking for the far post. There's runners at the far post, and it's one of them that if everybody misses it, it could potentially go in. But yeah, the keeper's got that covered. He read it pretty easily.
Tony Popovic said he didn't want to sell the Socceroos shirt. He doesn't want to convince a player who might have dual nationality to play for Australia. Volpato's a really interesting case. We'll come back to that in a minute, because here he is on the ball, just on the right of the penalty area. The cross is swung in, the header from Irvin will loop up and over. And that's a wasted chance for Australia, 0-0.
Well, Volpato again does well on the right-hand side. He's trying to trick his way through, ends up just setting the ball back. It's whipped in with some pace, and Irvin comes in, which he's done, I think, quite well in this first half. He's made those late runs into the box, which are often quite difficult to pick up, but I think he just jumps a little bit too early, and as he's coming down, it then hits his head, and yeah, it goes wide.
So bounces out for throw. So yeah, Volpato has Italian heritage, and he waited and waited. He could have played for Australia at the 2022 World Cup. Said he wasn't going to be rushed into a decision. He was waiting on Italy. That's what he wanted. And when Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup, he quickly said, "Oh, actually, go on then, I'll be Australian." And has his call-up and has his place in the Aussie team. Chiacati, the Australian right wing-back, can't even feed the ball over the halfway line. He had time and then quickly lost it. 3 shots on target for Australia, 6 attempts at goal. Paraguay have just had the 1. And I really, really hope you perhaps haven't got up for this game. 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Stay with us, though, because I've yet to commentate on a 0-0 at this World Cup. There haven't been many. We've already had the record broken during this set of fixtures. USA's goal, Aaron Trusty's goal, broke the record for most goals ever at a World Cup, the 173rd. So we will keep you up to date with the goals. They might just be in LA and not San Francisco for now, but we hope that changes in the second half. There have only been 4 0-0s at this World Cup so far. And I feared Panama-Croatia might go the same way the other night, and even Croatia managed to score to keep that record going. So there's a little bit of positivity for you. 4 minutes of the 6 have been played at the added time at the end of this first half. 3 minutes to the hydration break. I think the other 3 minutes have been largely made up by that injury to Conor Metcalf, who is now playing with a black bandage around his forehead after being caught by the studs of Cubas. Ball runs out of play for a Paraguay throw far side.
Well, I'm loving your positivity. I'm hoping
trying.
I'm hoping for the same in the second half. But yeah, I think when you look at the stats, the fact that Paraguay haven't tested the goalkeeper beach really at all, you know, they need that little bit more quality in that final third. We keep saying Enciso is the man that can produce something, but Australia are dealing with him well so far.
No Miguel Almiron, who might also make things happen for Paraguay, who's sent off for covering his mouth when talking to an opponent in the win over Turkey. So maybe that has limited some of their attacking prowess. But yeah, you certainly need to see more from Julio Enciso. And also Avalos, who we've mentioned his barren run in front of goal for his country. He is leading the line this evening for Paraguay, but apart from his single stab at goal that went well wide of the left-hand post, we've seen nothing from him, and very little from Paraguay as a team going forward.
And it is difficult for Avalos as well. You know, he's up there largely on his own. I know Enciso's trying to get in and around him, but the balls into him haven't really been good enough, and he's having to sort of deal with scraps.
Might change in the second half for Paraguay if they are bothered about playing Germany. They know at some point they will have to try and force the winner. But for now, Australia looking to seal second place themselves in this group. A little dance from Volpato on the right corner of the penalty area. Left-footed cross in swinging. And there goes the half-time whistle with the header away from Velázquez. So 0-0, chances few and far between. 3 shots on target from Australia, but all directly at Hill, so he's had nothing to worry about. The Paraguayan goalkeeper, Tony Popovic, is quickly scribbling notes on his pad. Gustavo Alfaro casually walks down the touchline to the tunnel in the corner. 0-0, we feared a draw. We're getting a draw, Sue Smith.
Yeah, and it's a game that's very much lacking quality in the final third. The decision-making has to be better from both sides. I think Australia probably slightly shade it in terms of the quality. I think they've caused problems down the right-hand side with Volpato and from Boss. They've linked up quite well, but yeah, just not managed to test the goalkeeper enough. And it'll be interesting to see will Paraguay come out in this second half and really give it a go, really sort of take the game to Australia, which should open it up a little bit more, and hopefully we'll get some goals.
Hopefully being the key word, and we'll be back for the second half. No goals here, and for the goals for Sahel in Los Angeles.
Yeah, half-time here, Mark. Turkey 2, USA 1, a non-stop 45 minutes. USA scoring their second fastest goal in World Cup history after 3 minutes through Austin Trusty smashing home from 7 yards after a deep corner picked him out at the far post. It felt like the USA were about to run away with the game, but back came Turkey, and Arda Güler equalised for the first goal of the tournament. And then Koçu, he swept in the second after an adventurous attack down the left. Where was this version of Turkey, Mike, earlier on in the competition? Half-time here, Turkey 2, USA 1.
Yeah, they're going on the plane home after that game. Bottom of the group, can't do any better. US top, Jim, as we know, with their 2 wins. So it's Australia and Paraguay battling it out for second and third. 0-0 at half-time. Australia currently occupy that second place and will face Iran. Paraguay, as it stands, will play Germany 0-0 in San Francisco.
Thank you, Mike. I enjoyed that little sunrise, sunset observation there as well.
I don't know whether that's something to be pleased about or depressed about.
We'll be back with you shortly. Thanks very much indeed there, Mike Maine and Sue Smith commentating on the Paraguay-Australia game, currently 0-0. And as you heard there, it's currently 2-1 to Turkey, who are trying to do a little bit of a fight back in Los Angeles. But is it too little too late? Well, yes, it is. As we know, they're already heading home, aren't they? But we'll be back for second half commentary for you in about 10-15 minutes time. And Sohail keeping us up to date on what's going on as well in the Turkey-USA game. So still plenty of drama to come, and hopefully some goals as we head into the wee small hours. You can follow all the action as well on the BBC Sport website and app, and stay with us for some halftime analysis in just a couple of minutes. Right now, though, let's get the latest 5 Live news headlines.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the UK and the FIFA World Cup 2026.
At 3:54 now, the BBC News on 5 Live. Venezuela's health minister says at least 235 people are now known to have died in Wednesday's powerful earthquakes, but large numbers of people are still unaccounted for as rescue teams try to find survivors in the rubble of collapsed buildings. The King has become the first British monarch to publish his tax bill. The royal accounts reveal he paid almost £13 million in tax between 2024 and 2025, putting him in the top 100 of UK taxpayers. The accounts also show the grant which funds the monarchy will rise to just under £100 million between 2027 and 28. The government has published a long-awaited bill designed to ban what's known as conversion therapy, aimed at changing someone's sexual orientation. If Parliament approves the draft, those convicted of carrying out an abusive conversion practice in England and Wales could face up to 5 years in prison. And forecasters say tonight into this morning could break the record for the warmest June night in the UK. The record for the hottest day in June was broken for the second time in a row yesterday, with 36.7 Celsius recorded at Merrifield in Somerset. A rare red alert for extreme heat is in place for London and parts of southern England. Right, let's get the latest sport now. In the World Cup, of course, it's half-time as Paraguay play Australia. The score currently there 0-0. We've got half-time analysis in just a moment of that, and we'll have the second half for you live in about 10 minutes. It's also half-time in Turkey versus the USA. It's the score there 2-1 to Turkey. It's worth saying the US are already through as group winners, even if they lose today, but you can follow all the action from that match on the BBC Sport website and app. Earlier, Japan and Sweden drew 1-1, with both teams making it through to the last 32, and the Netherlands beat Tunisia 3-1, setting up a Netherlands versus Morocco last 32 tie on the 30th of June. Japan finished second in their group and will face Brazil in the next round. And with the rest of the sport, here's John Wilkinson.
New Zealand will start day 2 of the third test against England on 361 for 4. There was a record stand of 317 between the openers Tom Latham and Devon Conway, but England hit back with late wickets at Trent Bridge, and former captain Michael Vaughan says that is significant.
I don't think this pitch is going to be treacherous over the course of 5 days. If anything, it'll stay pure for at least 3.5 of those days, unless the clouds roll in and it starts to swing, but I'm not too sure whether that's the forecast. And it's safe from what we've seen, at least 475 plus would be par on this pitch that we've seen today. So England, with those last 2 wickets in the last couple of overs, have got themselves back in the contest.
At the Women's T20 World Cup, India beat Bangladesh by 5 wickets to boost their chances of reaching the semi-finals. South Africa also thrashed the Netherlands by 88 runs. BBC Sport understands that the 2-time Ballon d'Or winner Alexis Putellas has decided to join London City Lionesses in the Women's Super League. The 32-year-old left Barcelona after 14 years in May. Staying with football, Manchester City have agreed a fee with Nottingham Forest worth up to £130 million to sign Elliot Anderson. That would be a British record. Britain's former world number 4, Jack Draper, has reached the Eastbourne semi-finals. He beat Gabriel Diallo in straight sets and he'll face France's Hugo Humbert. Meanwhile, a total of 3 British players, Oliver Tarve, Billy Harris and Max Basing, have qualified for Wimbledon for the first time since 1999. And in Rugby League, Warrington have moved level on points with Leeds Rhinos at the top of Super League with a narrow 18-16 win over Catalans.
I will resign as leader of the Labour Party.
6 different prime ministers within 10 years standing at that spot and saying it's just not working.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the UK.
So what do you want to see happen? Now the dust has somewhat settled, what do we think?
We just want stability. We are just stabilising.
We know we want him, the country wants him. We are not stress testing the people who ultimately get the job.
Why are people waking up in this country?
We don't actually know what any of them stand for anymore, I feel.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
It is basically unprecedented.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
With Jim Davis.
And it's almost 4 o'clock. A very good morning to you. It's good to be with you. We've just been getting live commentary then of Paraguay versus Australia in the World Cup. At half-time, it's 0-0, and we'll be going back there shortly to the Bay Area Stadium in San Francisco. It's 2-1 to Turkey against the USA at half-time there in Los Angeles, and you can follow that match on the BBC Sport website and app. Let's debrief, though, on both matches, and it's our man with an eye on Paraguay and Latin America, Ralph Hanna, who joins me this hour. Hello, Ralph.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Really good. Nice to talk to you, sir. Right, come on, let's deal with Paraguay versus Australia. What would you sum it up as? A tad lackluster, or am I being cruel?
Well, I think it's shaping up to be what people did expect with Paraguay, knowing that a draw will likely get them through in third place. And Gustavo Alfaro, the coach, is naturally very conservative in his approach. And when he set out that back 5, well, a back 3 that became very quickly a back 5, I think we saw what was going to happen. And so far, it's Australia really with a bit more possession and with that early chance from Jackson Irvine that have kind of been forcing the situation a bit more. What we might see in the second half is, does Alfaro want a bit more possession to try and protect the ball, which Paraguay just haven't been able to do in that first half.
So as a Paraguay expert, how rare is it for them to play 5 at the back?
Well, it's the first time Alfaro's done it in a competitive game since they went away to Bolivia. That was a very different situation, playing at altitude. He went for that. Ironically, they conceded twice early on in that game, and they managed to pull it back and draw 2-2. But really, it's not something he's used much. He's usually favoured that back 4 for Paraguay, and with at least one fullback that's almost becomes a wing back and is a bit more attacking.
Do you think the team are missing Almiron?
I think they're missing Almiron to an extent in terms of he's one of those players that can somehow get them through the press with that ball progression. And so we've seen Enciso try it, but he seems very isolated at the moment. Avalos, the striker, it really has struggled to hold up the ball. So I think, somebody like Almiron could have helped them with a bit more of that counter-attacking and ball progression, just to take some of the pressure off the defence, who have been doing the lion's share of the work so far.
Well, look, I mean, a draw would see both teams go through. Australia as the runners-up in Group D, and of course Paraguay finishing with, I think, of the 8 best third-place teams, they will make it through, won't they? At this point, that's statistically correct. I think I'm right in saying. So, are you happy with the draw?
Well, a draw would see them almost certainly face Germany, whereas a win would give them a slightly easier run. So, I think the main target, the focus before going to the World Cup and before that first game against the US was just to get through the group. And so, coming third is no kind of shame after you're 16 years away from a World Cup. And Paraguay were the lowest team in the rankings in the group going into the tournament. So I think coming through that in third place is still an achievement. But I mean, I would like to see something in that second half, just of a bit more attacking verve, a bit more of I don't know, adventure without fully taking off the risk level, because of course Paraguay do need to ensure they don't lose the game. They're really on a tightrope because of their goal difference. If they were to lose the game, they probably wouldn't qualify as one of the best third-place teams.
That's the worry, isn't it? So they really do need to keep the pressure on. For the sake of balance here, Ralph, and I appreciate you are our Paraguay expert, but at least give me some fair analysis of Australia's performance in this game so far.
Yeah, well, I think Australia, particularly with Jackson Irvine and Connor Metcalf in midfield, have been much more physical than Andres Cubas on the Paraguay side, and just really been able to control proceedings there. And I think they've attacked much more through their right. Paraguay is playing Alexandre Maidana at left wing back, who it's his first start in a World Cup, and he's only recently been called up to the squad. And so I think through Volpato and Jordan Boss, they've really tried to isolate him where they can, and created a few chances down their right hand side.
So as we enter the second half, what changes are you expecting to see, if any, and what would you like to see as the outcome?
Well, I think if Paraguay were to make a change, we might see Mauricio, the Palmeiras midfielder, who's got a bit more technical ability, and he could come on for one of those defenders, go back to their more standard kind of 4-1-4-1, and then have a bit more ball control and maybe see a bit more action in the final third, which we really didn't see. And who knows, they might be able to sneak a goal like they did early against Turkey and then hold on, and suddenly we're in second place.
Let's just, I've just got 30 seconds left, Ralph, but just give me a quick overview of Turkey versus the USA. Turkey have broken their duck at least, but it's a little, too little too late, isn't it?
Too little, too late. Lots of changes from both sides, and I think what we're seeing is the opposite of Paraguay, Australia. When there's no pressure on the game, you get a bit more free-flowing and a bit more excitement.
Yeah. Okay, so you'll be glued to the second half. I know you will, Ralph. Where can people find you if they want to follow you online?
I'm on Instagram and X on @ParaguayRalph.
Excellent stuff. Enjoy the rest of the game. Thanks very much indeed, Ralph Hanna there, our Paraguay and Latin American football expert. So we are about to return back to San Francisco for the second half of the game. Mike Maine and Sue Smith are standing by, ready to guide us expertly through. Hopefully some goals in the offing, you two. It would be great, wouldn't it?
We hope. 4 0-0s at this World Cup,
including England.
Including England, that was the last and most recent of the 4. This is game number 60 of the World Cup. So I think as a World Cup, with the World Cup goal record broken by the USA Aaron Trusty's goal, I think there are positives to give you hope that this won't finish 0-0. but there are 45 important minutes to go. Australia had a couple of players warming up out on the pitch at half-time. We'll wait to see if that is going to be a change they make immediately, or whether that's going to be a change they impact early on in the second half. An Australian fan with a green top on and a bright yellow wig, dancing around, massive gold chain around his neck as the Paraguay team emerge. I think we're going to learn a lot more about these teams in the second half than we did in the first, Sue Smith.
Yeah, I think so. We were saying, will Paraguay just sort of bide their time? So first half, do what we know that they can do very well, sit back, be tight, be compact, look to hit on the break, which we didn't really see a lot of. And then in the second half, are they actually really going to give it a good go and really take the game to Australia, which would open the game up, which certainly would suit Australia and the likes of Iracunda and Jordan Boss and those players with pace that can really exploit a team that are out of position. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see a little bit more in this second half. I'm positive as well. My glass is always half full.
Well, we thought Australia would make the change. They haven't blinked first. Paraguay have, and they've taken off Alexandra Mayana, and they're bringing on Maurizio, who turned 25 2 days ago, so he might be hoping for a slightly late birthday present in the form of a goal. Certainly a win for his nation. He was born in Brazil. He qualifies for Paraguay through his grandparents. Alfaro brought him into the squad, wanting him to help organise the game and perhaps be the playmaker the side lacked. Well, they certainly lacked as playmaker in the first half. So no pressure, Maurizio, on what you can do in the second half. We'll run you through the two teams in just a moment as we get underway. It's Paraguay. Red and white vertical striped shirts, white shorts, red socks, now from right to left in the second half. Hopeful shot, easily watched wide by Patrick Beach from midway inside the Australian half. And Australia then left to right, yellow shirts, green shorts and white socks. No changes for them at the break. Australia sitting in second in Group D, set to face Iran, as Paraguay currently will face Germany. Whoever finishes third in this group will play Germany, it would seem. So Iran perhaps more favourable to do that. You've got to finish second. Australia will be happy for the draw. Paraguay, no, there's a little more on that. USA, Turkey might be getting back underway shortly in LA, if not already. Turkey coming from 1-0 down to lead 2-1 at the break. Here comes a card for a challenge. Jackson Irvin is the first player into the book during this game. He was completely missing the ball, stuck out a right leg and took down Enciso, who landed actually with his back on the ball. Nasty one.
Yeah, and he wasn't happy, Enciso, and you can understand why. It was good, quick feet to take the ball around Irvin, and yeah, he slides in, completely mistimes it, completely takes him out, and like you say, Enciso on his landing actually lands on the ball, so probably a sore one. That's why he was very annoyed, shall we say.
Long drifting ball from Paraguay towards the Australian penalty area to our left-hand side. Cáceres just lets that run out. Cáceres actually, after match day 2, has won more duels than any other player at the World Cup. He's won more tackles than any other player at the World Cup. So an impact for him. Now he's going to take this throw in on the far side. Looked like he was aiming for the penalty here, then quickly plays it back to Velázquez, gets it back on the touchline, right-hand side, far side for Paraguay. Swung in early cross, comes off Harrington, and then a chipped shot off a fairway off a golf course from Cubas, just flies over the bar, 0-0.
Yeah, there's a chance though for Paraguay. Australia don't clear the lines. A cross comes in from the right-hand side and it just falls straight to Cubas. He's a distance out, he's right of centre, right-footed, and doesn't get a good connection. It comes off the sort of side of his foot and it curls wide, but certainly a chance for Paraguay to test the goalkeeper there.
Back on the way in LA. Turkey 2, USA 1. USA top the group, and that will be confirmed, and will face Bosnia. That has also been confirmed. As the ball bounces on the halfway line, Avalos can't do what he wants with it, then the ball bounces awkwardly as it goes up in the air to the Paraguay penalty area. Here's Iracunda, he tangles with Alderete, looked like he was looking for it, the way he positioned his body, waiting for the push. Referee Clement Turpin says no penalty and quickly waves on the Australian throw.
Yeah, and I think Turpin was in a good position straight away. He wasn't moved by it. You could see that Alderete waited for the ball, you know, and you always say as a defender, go and attack it as the ball come in. He doesn't, it bounces, and Irakunde sort of gets in behind, but he was always looking for it. I'd like to see it again, but it just looked like he put his foot there and he was always going to go down.
Ball out of play again, which gives us a chance to go to LA for the first time in the second half. Sahel Sahi.
We're all level now. It's Turkey 2, United States 2. So a quick start to the second half from the host USA. A long throw-in, which was headed away by the Turkey defence. It fell to Berhalter. He was on the edge of the penalty area, rifled it home. Low right-footed shot. We're all square. Turkey 2, USA 2.
So Berhalter scoring. He's the son of the former USA coach Greg Berhalter, now performing for the current USA head coach Mauricio Pochettino. Ball runs loose in the centre circle. Here come Paraguay, head down, charging forward from Mauricio, goes from range. That is Paraguay's first shot on target. Straight down the throat of Patrick Beach, he just pats it down to the floor before picking up the ball. That's better from Paraguay.
Much better, and that's exactly what the manager will have said to Mauricio. He'd have said, go on there, go and make an impact. He's come on the right-hand side, but he's very narrow. He's just playing off Alvaros, and it looks like Enciso's on that left-hand side, but they're really close. He picks the ball up, drives at the Australian back line. They back off him, and his shot, again, you would expect the goalkeeper to save, but certainly more positive.
Scored the goal against the US when they were 3-0 down, did Mauricio. Australia are in possession, 0-0. Played 5 minutes of this second half. BBC Radio 5 Live. 5 Live breakfast from LA with Rick Edwards, Rachel Burden back in Salford. From 6 a.m. Breakfast in America. The final one tomorrow from 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Mark Chapman in New York. Gail Clichy. He's going to be amongst his guests as we get ref cam view. Behind Mauricio's shot, straight at Patrick Beach. 0-0 it remains. 9th World Cup for Paraguay, who pride themselves on Gara Gurani, a fierce fighting spirit. I don't think they've been fierce in this game. Fighting spirit, maybe. Here's Boss for Australia, level with the right corner of the penalty area. Gives it to Volpato. Now Irvin sweeps in the cross towards Irakunde. Doesn't connect, it goes behind him and runs out towards the far side where Connor Metcalf, bandage on his head from receiving that injury, stood in his face during the first half. Colliding with Cubas, he swings in a cross, it's dealt with by Paraguay. Here's Enciso, just moves away from the ball to shoulder off Aidan O'Neill's challenge. Paraguay have the possession inside their own half.
Yeah, they're just trying to build possession. Paraguay, we didn't really see a lot of that in the first half. They were looking to go long and try and turn Australia, but looking to build it up. And you can see Mauricio, I said he was on the right-hand side. He's everywhere, whether they've given him a licence to roam a little bit. He's now in his own half, picking the ball up from the centre-backs. He's clearly just wanting to come on and really have an impact and be that creator that they were certainly lacking in the first half.
Here he is on the ball with his semi-long black hair, headband on, bright pink boots, as a lot of the players have at this World Cup. Cubas for Paraguay on the halfway line. 0-0 here, 2-1 Turkey lead earlier. If you've missed any of the overnight action, Germany's group concluded with a 2-1 defeat to Ecuador. Curacao beaten by the Ivory Coast 2-0. The midnight games, Japan and Sweden drew 1 apiece. The Netherlands beat Tunisia. That's a wayward ball, drifting from Paraguay, out for a goal kick, nowhere near the 18-yard box. There's a fan in the crowd with a kangaroo mask on his face. I hope he can see. Otherwise, he's paid a lot of money to be at a World Cup and not watch any of the action, although, actually, to be fair, he's not missed much in this game. Turkey was the bright moment for Australia, match day 1 for them. That's where Tony Popovic felt it all came together. Now they're just having to soak up a little bit of Paraguay pressure, crossing from the right-hand side, headed away by Harrington. Irakunde with a nice cushion down, and has Australia looking forward as he runs up towards the halfway line. Volpato can't return it to him. Paraguay with the challenge. back in possession with Alderete. Here's Enciso, edge of the D, tries to wriggle his way through the edge of the box. Oh, there's an awkward pass back there, risky from Australia. And Patrick Beach almost slipping down to the ground inside the 6-yard box, knocks it behind for a corner. He looks very frustrated with his team. The pressure from Enciso telling.
Yeah, brilliant from Enciso. He picks the ball up and he's just dribbling at that Australian back line. They managed to win the ball back, and the pass back to him, you just think he's got to clear it first time. Beachy doesn't, he takes a touch out of his feet, which allows Enciso to close him down and ends up putting it out for a corner. Much better from Paraguay.
I believe I said Turkey 2, USA 1 earlier. It's 2-2. Sahel Sari watching that game in LA for us. Corner on the right-hand side, then to Paraguay. Everybody back for Australia. There are 3 outside the box for Paraguay, so watch the late charges. Near post headed away by Harrington. Now Volpato races to try and get there first. Sliding challenge comes in from Maurizio to limit his manoeuvre. Out of play for an Australian throw far side.
Do you know where Paraguay have been much better in this second half as well is those midfield areas. They're being tenacious in there. They're winning that physical battle, because I thought in the first half Australia completely dominated that area, whereas I feel like now they're really trying to stop Australia playing.
54 minutes played, 0-0. Certainly more intensity to this second half as Chircati, good 50-yard carry from him up towards the edge of the Paraguay penalty area. Challenge comes in, it's out for a throw, and I'll tell you where both sides need to improve. Corners. They've been terrible on all sides so far in this game. Chircati, Australia going for the corner flag down this near side, they're right, but in steps Alderete, halted the first clearance, his second one slices out for an Australian throw. 10 yards from the byline. Heavily tattooed left arm of Alderete as he walks away. And now Chircati prepares to take this long throw. He does have a fairly decent run-up, backing away towards the stand that curves away from the pitch on this near side. Chircati's throw towards the edge of the 6-yard box. The heads go up. I think it was Alderete in there again to head it away. And Paraguay try and nick the ball on the halfway line. Clever little back heel, gives it to Enciso. He's going with Galarza. Enciso moves infield. Sutar back, the Australian captain. Now a wild cross. It's got to be better. We talked about final third quality in the first half. Cáceres overhits that, goes out for a goal kick. Paraguay 0, Australia 0.
Oh, it's really poor from Cáceres, because the build-up was brilliant. Galarza and Enciso link up well on the left-hand side. It's a little back heel to Enciso. He drives forward, plays the ball out to the right-hand side, continues his run. There's players in the box, and Cáceres just completely overhits the cross. That's where it's got to be better.
He was Brazilian, or born in Brazil rather. He's remembered fondly for Paraguay for actually a performance against Brazil, where he kept Vinicius Junior in his pocket, something Scotland couldn't do last night. Scotland have an interest in this game, because if Australia win by a couple of goals, Scotland will go above Paraguay in the third place rankings. At the start of the game tonight, Paraguay was 7th, Scotland 8th, but only 1 goal in it. Paraguay have scored more than Scotland though, so that's why it needs to be 2, because of the level on goal difference. Goals scored is the determining factor. And Enciso battling on the left-hand side, gets a good shove from Chircati to make sure the ball goes over the byline, but in doing so he's absolutely slammed Enciso into the advertising boards, which have bent. The LET advertising boards have bent in the clash with Enciso, who is helped to his feet by Chircati. I think Chircati realised he had to be aggressive, but then realised the player's welfare might have been at risk.
Yeah, straight away. They're both shoulder to shoulder. Chircati just comes across and pushes Enciso, but doesn't think that he's going to then continue the run into the box, and it looks like he just sort of bangs his head on those advertising hoardings, because straight away Chircati goes over and makes sure he's okay.
Another change for Australia, or the first change rather for Australia. Christian Volpato is off, and Aidan Hrustic comes on to replace him. Plays his football in the Netherlands for Heracles. He's had a career really dogged by injuries. He's had a really unlucky run. He only played 90 minutes of football for the first time this season following an ankle injury when they faced Curacao in a friendly in March, Australia. Europa League winner with Frankfurt, says he's got unfinished business at the World Cup. Edin Hrustic, and perhaps a chance to prove it this evening with the score 0-0. Evening in San Francisco, morning in the UK. If you're just waking up, Paraguay 0, Australia 0. You'll be glad you probably didn't set your alarm for 3 a.m. But that said, now you're awake, you may as well stay with us on BBC Radio 5 Live and hope for a dramatic twist maybe in this game. Australia know a draw's good enough for second place. A win confirms it and leaves Paraguay's future at this World Cup in the balance. Patrick Beach just sells a dummy on the turn with the pressure of Gabriel Avalos. Clearance away from Australia. A little bit poor, but Jackson Irvine is able to hook that away over the halfway line. Metcalf not perturbed by his earlier head injury. Now Boss, now Irinkunda, right-hand side, he's driven the ball. That's a shot that he's driven, and it's actually hit the corner flag. And I think gone out for it. Maybe a goal kick, possibly a throw. Really poor from the Watford man on the right of the penalty area. Driven shot, well wide.
Yeah, and he's kept himself on side. Boss does well. He wins the header, and this is the first time I've probably seen Irinkunda actually have space to run into, and he drives into the space so well, gets himself into a really good position. Nobody's closing him down. You've just got to try and pick out a player, and he just smashes it right across the face of goal. And like you said, I think it goes out for a throw-in. I think Hrustic, who's come on as a sub, was in a better position. Can you pick him out? Can you get your head up? Yeah, just lacked that quality at the end moment.
Certainly has inspiration from Tim Cahill, who scored Australia's famous goal at the World Cup just over 20 years ago. Irinkunda going from distance now. And a win over Japan for Australia at the World Cup 2006. Tim Cahill famously with the winning goal. Irinkunda wants to channel that, but Tim Cahill could finish better today than Irinkunda did just then. Here is a chance for the substitute to have the curling effort that deflects and takes all the power off. Hrustic with the opportunity, edge of the penalty area, but it just rolls comfortably for Orlando Hill at his near post. 0-0.
Yeah, he got himself into a good position, the substitute Hrustic. He's centre of the goal and just takes the shot first time, which is the right thing to do. But yeah, Paraguay closed him down and just took any sort of power off the shot, and it just rolls straight through to the keeper.
So past the hour mark, has been better, but it was a low bar from the first half. 0-0. And Ciso turns on the touchline brilliantly. Now he's got the shirt pull with Aidan O'Neill trying to recover his Chiacati. Jackson Irvine steps in. Did he take too much of Enciso? Clement Turpin, the referee, not interested. Ball has gone out of play for a throw-in on the halfway line. Now the Paraguay bench with Alderete down as well in the dugout, in the technical area he's rolled into, holding his right knee. I missed that challenge, but I think they're also angry at the one on Enciso earlier. Oh, and you've just seen that Alderete challenge, Sue?
Yeah, do you know, I don't think it was necessarily the challenge. I think it was the way that he landed on his knee, whether he slightly twisted it. Irinkunda was putting pressure on him as he was going to clear the ball, and just that little nudge. Just don't know if he slightly twists. I hope he's okay.
Paraguay bench has retreated back into its dugout. Only Gustavo Alfaro remains. Alderete here in some serious discomfort. The spray is out, the freeze spray on his knee. An important player to Paraguay, certainly an important player to Sunderland, and there'll be many Black Cats supporters just hoping that their man is okay too, as Irvine is now caught trying to flick the ball over his own head midway inside his own half. It's become a little stop-start, this game. 62 minutes in, 0-0, still 2-2. Turkey against the USA. Turkey going home, we know that. USA topping this group, we know that as well. This is Group D of the World Cup, where there are 10 groups. 48 teams become 32 after this final set of match round fixtures. Then we're into the knockouts, and we'll lose half the teams each way up until the final on July the 19th in New Jersey. Enciso on the ball for Paraguay, a yard in from the touchline inside his own half. Alderete is now back on his feet. You can see the sheen of the spray on his left knee as he'll slowly try and run off that injury. We get it again. is how he lands. Is it a clash of knees with Irankunda as well? It's a nasty one, Sue.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it sort of hyperextends that left knee. But he's back on the field, which is great to see. Sometimes it can just be a bit of a shock. You think it's potentially worse than what it is. So, yeah, hopefully it's okay. But it was just a nudge, I think, from Irankunda. He was going for the ball, shoulder to shoulder, but sometimes you just awkwardly twist.
Certainly seen a little bit of aggression in this game. We've had challenge on in Ciso from Chircati not so long ago. Then that one with Irankunda and Alderete. The huge arena watching down. LED screens almost on stilts behind each goal. It's an NFL stadium by trade. It is Boss's cross on the right-hand side that hangs in the air. It's left by Velázquez. Cáceres will have to cover Behic. The ball on the byline. Behic keeps it in play. Moves it out towards the corner flag on the far side. Australia's left. That's a touch as it gone over the line from the Australian last. Quite how the referee would have seen that from his angle. Quite how the official on the far side from where the ball was will have seen it across the post and through the net, but goal kick is the right decision, I think. It keeps it Paraguay 0, Australia 0. Love all, as it may be in tennis, and that is a perfect, terrible segue to tell you that Wimbledon starts on Monday. All the best action available across 5 Live BBC Sounds. 1 o'clock it starts Monday afternoon on BBC Radio 5 Live. The Austrian Grand Prix starts with practice this afternoon, lunchtime. Let's get it right, 12:25 on Friday, wherever you're listening. Here's Enciso. So today, technically, 12:25, Sports Extra 2, practice from the Austrian Grand Prix. It was an absolute thriller last year. And with the upgrades to the cars, the different engine setups for this year, the different regulations, it'll be interesting to see how this year's Austrian Grand Prix pans out. Can Lewis Hamilton follow it up with back-to-back wins for Ferrari? Kimi Antonelli, the star of the year so far with those 5 wins and leading the Drivers' Championship at the tender age of just 18 years old. We've played 20 minutes in the second half. Paraguay 0, Australia 0. With Mauricio, who came on brightly as a sub at half-time, but in the last 10-15 minutes or so, barely seen a touch of the ball. He just holds out a right hand, I think apologising to a teammate that he didn't see a forward pass as he squared it on the halfway line for Alderete. Couple of minutes away from the much-loved hydration break that goes down so well is Enciso. Can't wait for that. Enciso in from the left-hand side. Uses Diego Gomez. The Brighton man's been very quiet in this second half. Barely mentioned him. In fact, that might be the first mention he's got. Roll walks around in the middle of the field with his left short leg rolled up. Socks at knee height. Now here's Alderete. So Brighton finds Sunderland. It goes back to Brighton with Diego Gomez, who bypasses former Brighton man Julio Enciso, gives it to Alderete. Low cross in towards the edge of the box again. It's just that final third quality that lacks. Jackson Irvine with an easy interception. He will say right place, right time. Read the game well. As a rash sliding challenge comes in, misses the ball from Paraguay. Needs the second one to come in from Galarza. Ball goes out of play for a throw-in. And here comes another change for Paraguay. Avalos still waits then for that first international goal in over 3 years. He departs. He was the man selected in replace of the suspended Miguel Almiron. And in his place then, it is Alex Arce, who plays his football in Argentina. 9 goals in his last 7 games before coming to the World Cup, including a couple of hat-tricks. He's the top scorer in the Copa Libertadores so far, the South American Champions League, if you will. So along with Mauricio, he's now on in that attacking line. The promise is there, the willing is there from Paraguay, the intention is there. Can it come to fruition?
Well, they'll certainly be hoping so, won't they? Because I think it was a difficult day, wasn't it, for Alvaros? You know, some of the sort of balls into him, the service was quite poor. He was having to chase things down, do a lot of defending. But when it did come to him, we didn't really see any sort of quality. He wasn't really linking with his teammates. That's what they'll be hoping that Arce can do. He can come on and maybe do that a little bit better. And when the chance comes, he's obviously got confidence, hasn't he, at the moment?
I'll tell you what, if Australia are to slip up against Paraguay, they themselves will have to be cautious. They'll have a -1 goal difference. They'll have 3 points. Alderete's down again with that left knee. He's just rubbing it. I think the referee has called sensibly the hydration break at this point with Alderete down. And he just grimaces, lies down on his back, left leg outstretched. They are readying the change. It will likely see Jose Canale come on. But that's going to be worrying for Paraguay. One of their star defenders in Omar Alderete down on the floor. And of course, depending on the serious nature of it, possibly Sunderland as well.
Yeah, and he knows as well, like you say, he tried to carry on. It was just an awful landing. It was the way he sort of extended his knee, tried to carry on. He kept rubbing his knee, and as he was trying to get back into position, you could see he wasn't quite moving comfortably, and he's just had to go down. And you know, obviously a huge loss to Paraguay. We know how good he is on the ball. We know how strong he is as a defender, that sort of towering centre-back. So you just hope it's something that he's feeling, and for the good of the team, he's took himself off, and you know, they're bringing a substitute on because he's not quite right. Just hope it's nothing too serious.
Yeah, I guess the good news from the injury perspective is he's up, he's walking unaided, no need for a stretcher. He will obviously be frustrated and hopefully doesn't end his World Cup, but it will certainly end his game in San Francisco. And we'll stay on the West Coast because we'll go to LA. Latest from Turkey, USA, Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, still Turkey 2, USA 2. We've just finished the second hydration breaks. Sebastian Berhalter, he equalised early in this second half. It's his first ever international goal for his country. Christian Pulisic is back on the pitch. He missed the second game, don't forget, the victory over Australia with a slight injury. He's back on the pitch. He's improved USA. But currently, Mike, it's Turkey 2, USA 2.
Thank you, Sahel. Regular updates on 5 Live for the duration of that game. Again, an animated Tony Popovic having a pop at his Australian squad there. But when we thought Canale was coming on, Gustavo Alfaro is in conversation with Paraguay's number 3, the centre-back. Is he going to continue here? That will be some story. Certainly thought Canale was ready to come on for him. We will wait and see. Looks like Alderete wants to carry on. Yeah,
do you know, Canale was warmed up and ready, and they were rubbing something on Alderete's knee, whether it was, I don't know. Yeah, he's back on the field. He's desperate to continue, isn't he? He must feel that he's okay. He didn't look like he was when he sort of stumbled off, but he must think he can continue.
Well, it certainly takes the grading down of the seriousness of the injury, doesn't it? If it was that serious, he'd be off.
Yeah, thank goodness.
But with his shaved sides of his hair slightly curly on top, he now stands marshalling his own penalty areas. The ball is angled towards him, a stooping header away, clears it for now. Jackson Irvin sends it back towards the Paraguay 18-yard box. As you can tell, we're back underway. Paraguay 0, Australia 0. Paraguay red and white vertical striped shirts, the white shorts, the red socks, right to left in this second half. And Australia left to right, golden yellow shirts, the green shorts, yellow and white socks for the Socceroos, as they are known. It is approaching early evening in Australia. It is approaching early night time in San Francisco and early morning here in the UK. With the sun reflecting off the clouds in Salford, where Rachel Burden will be for 5 Live Breakfast. Later on from 6 o'clock, Rick Edwards will be bunking down for the night after 5 Live Breakfast that he's brought you from LA, where the US are currently in action. Turkey 2, USA 2. Here's Diego Gomez, still got the left short leg rolled up his thigh. Jack Grealish style, almost, showing off those quads and hamstrings. And it's a sloppy ball from Alderete, poked forward, intercepted. Jackson Irvin, that long blonde hair, clears it away. Paraguay recover. Goalkeeper comes out of his penalty area, Orlando Hill. One of 6 goalkeepers that featured for Paraguay in World Cup qualifying. They get to the halfway line. Here's Julio Enciso. Socks rolled down, pink boots on. In from the left-hand touchline. Gives it to Maurizio, who came on at half-time. Fed back out towards this near left-hand side for Galazza. Maurizio tries to slide it on through for Enciso. Then it ricochets around. Enciso edge of the penalty area. Quickly closed down by two Australian players. One is Connor Metcalf. The other is Jackson Irvine. It's played out towards the right-hand side now. Requires patience from Paraguay. As a cross is floated in towards Diego Gomez. It's an Australian head away. Paraguay recycle.
Yeah, I just think when Paraguay get the ball there and they're looking to deliver the ball in the box, it's got to be pinpoint. It can't be just drifted in, because you look at the Australia centre halves, they'll just clear it. That's, you know, exactly what they want. They want the ball to come in and just get rid of it with their head, and it's got to be better, Paraguay, when they get themselves into those wide positions. Just try and find the man.
And maybe Rick's enjoying the USA game. It's Stephen Powell covering breakfast this morning alongside Rachel Burden. 0-0. Paraguay-Australia in San Francisco. Darkening skies above the Bay Area Stadium. Steep arena, 4 tiers on the far side. Here come Australia. Irankunda slides the ball to the left-hand side whilst going to ground. Comes off Connor Metcalf. Out for a Paraguay throw in their right-back position. The main stand of which we see the pictures from, mostly hospitality boxes, but behind both goals and sweeping around to the far side, 3 tiers. Massive LED screens behind both goals. Pocket of yellow behind the goal to our right-hand side, full of Australian fans with their inflatable kangaroos and their bucket hats. Paraguay player is down here in the form of Velasquez, whose side Cerro Porteño in Paraguay are through to the knockout stages of the Copa Libertadores. He'll face Palmeiras of Brazil in August in that. He'll want his Paraguay side nationally to be through to the knockout stages of the World Cup as well. 0-0, good enough for them at the moment. We'll see them qualify. They won't be able to be caught by any of the teams who've still got to play in that bottom 4 of the third place rankings. Cape Verde, Belgium, DR Congo, Senegal, all set for exit as it stands, as the 4 worst third place teams of the 12 in those rankings. Clash of heads, challenging for the ball just outside the centre circle.
Yeah, it's Galazza and Jordan Boss, and Boss seemed to come away worse. It was the referee was in a great position straight away, stopped play so that Boss could get treatment. But yeah, it's certainly been physical, hasn't it, in this second half? Both teams putting big challenges in.
Still no goals though. 14 minutes from the end of the 90. Alderete, right-footed, curling, arcing ball out towards the far side. No one there, out there on the touchline in a red and white vertical striped shirt of Paraguay. So it is a throw into Australia, which they take quickly. All throw-ins at this World Cup have to be taken quickly because of the countdown that begins. FIFA's efforts to try and get play going as quickly as possible. Boss, nice little sidestep down the right-hand side, then he's pulled down by Diego Gomez as he escaped the Brighton man. Yellow card to Diego Gomez, who will miss the round of 32 game if Paraguay get there.
Yeah, and he knew exactly what he was doing there. It's a lovely play from Boss. He's a top player, isn't he? You know, he's explosive, he's dynamic, he's got those lovely quick feet, and he shifts the ball from left to right quickly, takes on Gomez, and Gomez knows he's beaten and pulls him back. It's an easy yellow card for the ref.
Jordan Boss is a top player. Surprised as a Merseysider, so you didn't call him Boss.
I was tempted.
Free kick to Australia, with Chiakati and Irvine moving it along the halfway line infield. Australia left to right as we look at it. Played around the corner, but poorly by O'Neill, so Paraguay hack it away. We are now getting towards the final 10 minutes of this second half. Paraguay will be happy with a draw. It will secure them a round of 32 place, but as it stands, they're set to face Germany. And I guess it's that risk and reward, isn't it? Do you go for the winner to try and face Iran as it stands? Or do you risk going for the winner, potentially losing it if Australia counter-attack, and miss out on the World Cup round of 32 altogether. These are the fine decisions that coaches are paid for.
Yeah, and it looks like they were obviously going to try and win it. The substitutions that have come on, you know, they're positive substitutions. They certainly playing higher up the field, certainly playing with more intensity, but you can't be too silly.
Irving down the right-hand side. Boss can't take it round the sliding Galarza. So throw into Australia as it comes off the Paraguayan. On this near side, Chikati. Mini mullet comes over to gather the ball. Still Turkey 2, USA 2 in LA. Chikati needs an option for the throw, and he won't get much longer to take it. Instead, he throws it by the corner flag. He'll get it back, rolls it across his body, finds Irvin. Quick play from Australia, although Hrustic is offside. There are some twitchy-looking Australian fans in the crowd. One hugging a kangaroo or a koala teddy bear. One Australian fan rubbing his hands together. They don't look the most comfortable, yet they don't really have a reason to believe not to be comfortable. I guess if Paraguay score, it changes the picture for them too.
Yeah, of course it does, and they'll just be thinking, if we can get a goal, we can just relax that little bit more, because even though Paraguay haven't really created a lot of chances and they haven't really tested the goalkeeper enough, they've still got players that have that capability to be able to do that.
It was fair. Dale Johnson's written a great article on the BBC Sport website about how this third place ranking, how a 48-team tournament might produce some games where teams play out for draws. Of course, the famous example in 1982 of Austria and West Germany playing out a draw which knocked out Algeria. Funnily enough, tomorrow, Algeria against Austria, so a little bit of rivalry from 46 years ago will be renewed there. But this is the balance, because actually, if both sides end up with 4 points, it secures both sides' passage through to the round of 32. Australia in second, Paraguay in third. Turkey are going home. At the moment, they have a solitary point, 2-2 against the US. They trailed, they then took the lead, and then the US, through Sebastian Berhalter, have got level. 0-0 here, 10 minutes to go in San Francisco. The floodlights now casting faint shadows. The last of the sun has settled behind the stand in the southwest corner. Alderete still continuing after that knock to his knee. Here's Diego Gomez, lying much deeper for Paraguay than perhaps he does for Brighton. Early cross in from Maurizio, aimed towards Arce. Away by Australia and back on the halfway line. 0-0. Velázquez, Cáceres, and into the middle for Cubas. Centre circle for the headbanded Maurizio to keep his hair out of his eyes, his long brown hair. Here's Enciso, nice little turn, gets the shot away, clatters it into the front man of Jackson Irving, comes back to Enciso, snapshot near post wide of the left-hand frame by a yard or two. Goal kick, 0-0.
I think that's why we say he's the game changer, and he's the one that can really make something happen. When he picks the ball up on the left-hand side, he feints to shoot and tricks the Australian defence. He then takes another touch, manages to shoot, which eventually is blocked. He's got 3 players around him, manages to get the shot away, but it's just wide of the far post.
So Paraguay lost 4-1 on the opening day of USA. They beat Turkey 1-0. Set for third place as it stands. Gustavo Alfaro, the manager, wanted the players to believe in a World Cup dream when he came into the job. He said, remember when some of the players used to sleep 5 to a bed? They're trying to improve their lives. This is lovely from Boss into the penalty area, weak shot. Trying to switch it at the near post, but no power behind it, and Hill can breathe a sigh of relief, although he's down on his back here, a little stricken. Has he gone down awkwardly? Has he collided with a teammate? Because it also looks like Gustavo Gomez is down here. Have another look at this, Sue.
Yeah, I think so. It's really good from Boss. He shows that quick acceleration, gets himself into the area, cuts inside onto his left foot, but just as he's about to shoot, he's off balance, and it's easy for the goalkeeper to come and collect.
Watching the replay, I don't really see a reason why Hill has gone down, the Paraguayan goalkeeper. He was moving to his left, moving to his right, switched back to dive down to his left. But of course, as is the new rules, if the goalkeeper is injured, teams can't go over and get tactical instructions. Got to be careful of Alderete, who's just testing out that knee again. In fact, his number is up now. So that is enough for the left knee of Omar Alderete. And Jose Canale, who was going to come on about 10-15 minutes ago in his place, is coming on for him. Double change for Australia as well. Paul Okon-Engsler is coming on. Tete Yengi also. Yengi, who plays his football in Japan. Japan as a nation earlier drew 1-1 with Sweden in their final game of Group F. They come second behind the Netherlands, who beat Tunisia. They were the midnight games if you're just waking up to BBC Radio 5 Live. The 8 o'clock kickoffs technically yesterday evening now. Ecuador came from behind to beat Germany 2-1. Curaçao 0, Ivory Coast 0. Later today, 8 o'clock, Norway, France, with updates of Senegal against Iraq. 1 o'clock Saturday morning, as it will be, Uruguay, Spain, Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia, and then 4 a.m. Saturday morning, Egypt, Iran, with updates of New Zealand, Belgium. And don't forget, the latest Football Daily will drop in a few hours' time as well. All you have to do is search football on BBC Sound. The test match back on tomorrow, second day of the third test at Trent Bridge. New Zealand closing on 361 for 4. TMS team back from 11 a.m. on Sports Extra. 0-0, 5 minutes to go of this game. It's Jackson Irvine and Nestori Irankunda who have departed for Australia, incidentally. Canale with his first touch is to lift it over the halfway line, but poorly so, headed by Australia back into the Paraguay half, which is the half away to the right of the halfway line as we look at it. But then it's won well by Galarza just outside the centre circle. Paraguay back in possession. Canale, that outwardly projecting hair of his, medium length hair. Now Enciso with the blonde hair down the left hand side, just creeps up against Chiacati, turns infield from the touchline. Still 0-0. Back it goes to Canale, instantly recognisable. Now Maurizio came on, had a shot early on in the second half and has done very little since, as Australia set up with a line of 2 lines of 4 to shield off this Paraguay attack. They draw this game. Australia finished second, Paraguay finished third, and both teams will be through to the round of 32. Here's Canale again. A lot of touches early on for the curly brown-haired, almost multi-coloured booted Canale. Purple base to his pink boots as Enciso tries the reverse pass on the left-hand side of the penalty area, and it runs past Arsa. Goal kick, 0-0.
Well, Enciso's going looking for it. He's just dropped right into his own half there to try and pick the ball up and try and create something from deep, but overhits the pass, not on the same wavelength, and the ball breaks for an Australia goal kick.
Paraguay all but assured of a place in the round of 32 with a point. Well, teams who could go above them, the likes of Croatia and Algeria, who are already inside the top 8, and then the bottom 4, which Cape Verde, Belgium and Congo could technically catch Paraguay. Senegal can't. Senegal the only side of the 12 third place teams that are yet to pick up a point. Senegal take on Iraq tomorrow. That third place picture will change. The BBC Sport website, if you go to the groups and schedule part of the World Cup index, you'll find how the third place rankings look. It's good enough for Australia at this point, with 3 minutes to go on BBC Radio 5 Live. Hacked out of play, throw in. With every minute that passes by, the fears of how this game is going to play out are becoming a reality. We have tried our best to remain positive, but I think it is fading.
Yeah, it really is fading. I think we've just seen the match stats, and it showed, 4 shots on target for Australia, 1 for Paraguay, and that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Well, I'm on Uruguay-Spain duty at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. I promise you that will be better. Both sides really ideally need the 3 points, particularly Uruguay, who drew with Cape Verde last time out, drew with Saudi Arabia, so they only sit on 2 points. As Cape Verde also have 2 points and are actually better positioned than Uruguay as it stands as the third team in that group. Saudi Arabia at bottom, Spain on 4 points, top the group, but if Uruguay win, then Uruguay will top the group, so all to play for in Group H tomorrow from 1 o'clock in the morning, so join me and Charlie Adam for that. We'll also have reports of the other game in that group, which is Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia. Cape Verde could pull off something incredible, and we've already taken points off Spain and Uruguay. They get a win against Saudi Arabia, they're going through to the knockouts.
I think we've all got a soft spot for them, haven't we?
Absolutely. So that's tomorrow on BBC Radio 5 Live. Right now, Paraguay 0, Australia 0. As we get set for the final minute of the 90, there'll be at least 3 minutes added on, and then with the injury to Omar Alderete, with the substitutes as well, Boss dances his way through, now tries the curling shot, didn't curl enough, wide of the left-hand post as he came in from the right-hand side. Best chance for him, lively chance for Australia, 0-0.
Yeah, he's been the best player for Australia in the second half. Picks the ball up on the right-hand side. 2 players, just cuts in between both of them. Lovely quick feet. I keep mentioning his change of pace. He's able to just accelerate past them. And once he gets himself in the area on his left foot, he just can't bend it enough. He can't whip it enough into that far corner. It's not far away, though, but he certainly looked lively. He's looked like the one that could potentially be that spark for Australia. Well, he has been a spark, he's just not been able to finish off the chance.
Yeah, had scored in his last 3 internationals before coming to the US, the warm-up game, and now his third game in the group stage. He's 3 goals without coming into the game internationally for Australia. The final player, plays for the club his dad supports. Paraguay are going to make a change. Australia have only ever been involved in a goalless draw once before at the World Cup. 5 minutes of added time. Might be heading for their second. Headed away by Harrington. Back up in the air on the halfway line by Cáceres. Now the ball's on the deck, not for long, as Krustic sends it out of play. Double change for Paraguay. She's going to see Junior Alonso as one of them, and I think Damien Bobadilla is also coming on. Confirm that in a second. It won't be on for long. We've nearly had the first minute of the 5 added on, and Cisse holds the ball up on the halfway line in front of Tony Popovic, the Australian manager, in that green-covered dugout. I was watching a video of how quickly they changed the dugouts at a World Cup. It's just a simple covering banner over the dugouts. They whip one off and they replace it with the other, and in the tunnels they quickly just cover up the flags of each nation for the next. Diego Gomez is off. That allows Damien Bobadilla to come on, and as also confirmed, Alonso comes on, and his first action is to take the ball and have this throw in. So he's literally come on the pitch and then walk straight back off it to take this throw in. Galarza is the man he replaces. Alonso, who plays in Brazil, one of the longest serving members of the Paraguay national team. He says, for those that don't give up, there's always a reward, and the Sheriff, as he is known, has helped bring Paraguay to this World Cup, their first World Cup since 2010. 2 minutes of the 5 have gone. Paraguay 0, Australia 0. Is there to be a late twist? As it stands, Australia are facing Iran in the round of 32. That will change tomorrow with Iran in action at 4 a.m. Saturday morning. Commentary of their game with Egypt on 5 Live. Paraguay in possession, edge of the penalty area. This is Mauricio's chance to try and sneak in a shot on the left-hand side. But Beach is there, diving down to his right, and prevents Paraguay grabbing a late winner.
Oh, it's a real opportunity, wasn't it, for the substitute Mauricio? It's good play, actually, from Paraguay. They move the ball 1 and 2 touch, and he finds himself centre, just inside the area, takes 1 touch. It's a brilliant first touch onto his left foot, but again, it's just too close to the goalkeeper. Needed to just go either side. He tried to just pass it into the net. No real power in the shot.
And that was Paraguay's best chance, but maybe Australia could nick it. The substitute Yengi, right-footed, out-swinging shot aiming for the far corner, but it was low on the ground, no power. And this time it's Hill's turn to make a simple save.
Well, we're starting to get a good game now, aren't we? Now it's coming towards the end, but Yengi, yeah, comes on as a substitute, different proposition to Irinkunda. Real tall, imposing figure, but yeah, again, the shot's just too close to the keeper.
93 minutes we waited for actual action, for an actual game of football that seems to have broken out. 0-0 it remains, though. 2 minutes to go of added time. The crowd just seem a little more energetic all of a sudden. Maybe they sense that both sides are now going for it. Surely not. Gustavo Gomez, the Paraguayan captain, it is lifted up. Harrington heads it back towards the halfway line, then volleyed forward. Lovely little cushion header. Comes to the edge of the centre circle for Maurizio, and Ciso trying to angle his run right. Runs into the path of Chiacati. Now Jordan Boss, who has pace. He's passed one on the halfway line. He tries to wriggle his way free of a second. He gets a trip. Australian free kick. Surely this goes towards the penalty area.
You've got to get it in the box, especially now, you know, that they've got Yengi in there, like say, really tall, good in the air, get a good delivery in there. Just watching the chance for Paraguay again. He does so well. His initial first touch just sets him, and the ball actually goes through the legs of Harrington, which could make it difficult for the goalkeeper, but he sees it all away. And then Yengi's attempt, he just tries to sort of poke it towards goal, doesn't he? But again, too close to the goalkeeper. Has to take it first time, though, because there's somebody closing him down quickly.
Australia don't go for the penalty area, they go for the corner flag. Now Maurizio sends it high and away up towards the edge of the centre circle, deep into the final minute of added time. And the ball forward from Australia in the air just rolls into an empty 18-yard box for the Paraguay goalkeeper Hill, who is just creeping towards the edge of his penalty area, like he's going to send this long. The whistles start to go from the Australian fans, who sense their side is nearly there, and the long clearance downfield from Hill bounces out for a throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, they were trying to push everybody up and say, come on, let's just hit it long, let's win the first header, let's gamble from that, but just too little too late.
Well, for the 5th time at this World Cup, it ends 0-0. And probably, on reflection of what we've seen, no surprises. Both sides favour a draw, both sides have a draw. And Australia will finish second in this group, and looking set to face Iran. Paraguay likely to come, well, will come third in the group, likely to make the last 32 as one of the best placed, third placed teams. Tony Popovic and Gustavo Alfaro embrace on the touchline. Both welcome the point, but the quality from both sides lacked completely for 90 minutes.
Yeah, it did. The decision-making in the final third certainly lacked, but you could see it's Australia that are the happier of the two sides. They're celebrating. They come for the draw. I said it was going to be risky to do that, but they've managed to do it. They've defended well. They've been solid. But when those chances come in the final third, they just couldn't take them. Paraguay with a team that really had to try and go for it, to try and maybe get that win to take them into second place, but they just lack the quality as well. So yeah, both teams through.
Both teams through with one of everything: a win, a draw and a defeat. Still playing in LA, by the way. United States and Turkey 2 apiece. There was rare flashes. The substitutes tried to make an impact, and at the end very well could have made the biggest impact by scoring late. The Australian players are out there all embracing one another. They are through to the knockouts. Never won a knockout game at the World Cup, but for the 3rd time in their history, get past the group stage. And you can see what it means. We're downplaying it because the spectacle was not glorious in San Francisco. Paraguay players applaud their fans as well. But in terms of what it means for each nation, it does mean a lot to Australia. You can see that.
Yeah, of course it does. Like I say, they were the team that they were celebrating. You know, they know that they've got a really good opportunity to win the next game and potentially progress even further. So yeah, they've done what they had to do, and you know, there was certain individual players that you can praise. I thought Boss was very good in that second half. You know, I thought defensively, when the ball come in, you got Suter who won everything in the air. Irinkunda put himself about, was quite physical, maybe lacked that little bit of quality. Volpato was good in the first half, and on that right-hand side caused some problems. So there was individual players, and I think collectively as a team made it difficult for Paraguay, and yeah, they're certainly the team celebrating, and rightly so.
As we watch the rip shirt of Jose Canale, he's only on for a matter of minutes, and he's already managed to rip his shirt somehow. He heads down the tunnel. There's been a late goal in LA. Sahel Sahi.
It's gone the way of Turkey. Turkey look like they've secured victory here against the United States. Turkey 3, USA 2. Good work by Arda Güler on the right-hand side. It was a cross that was just chipped in to the far post. A header missed by the USA defence, scrambled inside the 6-yard box, and it was converted home from 4 yards away. We're deep into added on time here, Mike, but it looks like Turkey have claimed their first win of the tournament. Turkey 3, USA 2.
We'll be back with you at full-time, Sahel. Wake Up to Money will follow us shortly on BBC Radio 5 Live. We're still watching some very jubilant Australian players, huge smiles on their faces as they head to the pocket of Australia fans away to the right-hand side, many with their inflatable kangaroos and their bucket hats on. Historic moment for Australia. Paraguay players were a little more reserved. We expect them to go through as one of the best third-place teams. They're currently 4th in the table. Few teams still to play, which might affect that, but it's very unlikely. Does Scotland no favours as well? We should add, they're still 8th in that list of 12. The top 8 go through, but all the teams below Scotland, Cape Verde, Belgium, DR Congo, Senegal, all play over the next day or so. So 0-0 between Australia and Paraguay. It is now over in LA, and Turkey